All right, to review, I am doing the summer picnic project. This is the image that I'm using. It is a cropped version of a larger image. And just go and show that real quick. Okay, so this is the larger image. I've cropped it. So I only see part of it. I'm going to draw this. The goal for this assignment, I have it written down. I'm going to put it in a place where I can see it and be reminded. There we go. Okay, so summer picnic. We're doing form and value. All right, I think this is still, there we go. Form and value, emphasis on harmony, simplistic and close-up crop in bright and bold colors. Okay. I think I need my glasses. Oh, so much better. Okay. Okay, so we've got a bowl over here. I'm going to draw this looking at the negative space, not just the positive space. The lemon is roughly here, a little bit over there, kind of comes around. The lemon is probably about halfway up the page. I know that it's rounded, but I don't see all of it because there's a glass jar there. The glass jar is angled this way. If I look at it where it's going, it's crossing kind of all the way there. So I'm gonna put that there. Okay, I gotta like turn off my, hold on 1 second. I gotta make sure nobody's trying to text me during class. Okay. Oh, hopefully that works. Okay, the entry point of that jar is up here. That beautiful straw. I really like that straw. I think that straw is just so cool. It's actually not as straight as I drew it. Okay, I need to angle that. It's actually coming at an angle. It's a little better. And as always, if you don't want to draw it and you want to copy or transfer the image onto your drawing paper, that's fine too. But it's a good exercise to draw. Okay, this glass jar is going to be a very interesting challenge. I think I drew that too low. Okay, we've got I'm looking at the distance between the lemon and the board. The angle of that. Let's see. Yeah, okay, okay, pretty good, Larissa. All right, but then it has a curvature, and then it has another curvature there. It's very close to the edge. This is a little tricky because this is a very round, very big round shape, but there is a smaller shape because it is the side, and then it curves in. We have the opening here, and then we have those grapes that Farah requested. I think that actually this probably needs to be a little bit wider out here. Okay, and then we've got a strawberry just busting out of this bowl here. It's crossing over the bowl, overlapping it a little bit. Okay, there is the rim of the bowl. We got the leaves on the strawberries, blueberries, and they're all wet. I'm not going to draw all of them. Okay, and then we have these grapes. All right, we have grape here. We have grape here. Another grape here. Kind of in line with the strawberry. A little past the strawberry. Very big grape here. And grape there. And I think that's good. Okay. Now I gotta get this lemon. Okay, the segments of the lemon. And this jar. The lemon is going through it. Oh, it's coming out here. I'm gonna extend this out just a little more. Ooh, boy, this is gonna be a challenge. Got the stripes. One, two, 3, 4, 3, 4. That one's a little bit, that's okay. All right, and the tricky part on this glass jar is the ringy dingies, the rings around it. I may not be able to finish this. I will do my best. Okay, there's this. Oh, there's another ring here. I didn't get that. And the ball. That's not quite in the right place, but I don't care because I don't want to draw all of that. I'm just gonna make it a little bit lower on the paper. I see a little bit of the straw through here. There's some refraction of the straw through here. That is some tricky stuff. Okay, now there is the checkered. Okay, I'm going to do something. I'm going to make a choice to make fewer checkers. Okay, so, but I'm going to follow the direction of the pattern. So the lines that are there, I'm going to use them, but like maybe every other line. This way. This should be here. Ah, that's great. Now I only have a couple. Now I need to move this over. Again, making adjustments to my drawing here. Okay, I actually really like that. Okay. Nice. Okay, here we go. So first thing I want to do is I want to do my wash. Okay, and my wash is going to be very light. And I have to make sure that I am omitting paint in any of the areas where there is white. So I have to figure out where those are. Okay, 1 second. Okay. Some of these checks are going to be white. So it looks like every other one. And I can do this in a way where it's going to make it easier for me. Every other one on one row, and then none on the next row. Okay, so this is going to be a darker red. And in fact, because I know it's going to be a darker red, I'm going to just outline it just a little bit more. Well, yeah, I'll make that. I'm going to make that look like that. I'm going to give it some vertical lines so that I know it's going to be a lighter red. And then this one, I'm going to make it even. I'm going to use my pencil to create a darker value there. So that's red. I'm trying to figure this all out. And then this is lighter red. And this is lighter red. That's darker. That's lighter red. That's darker. Oof. That's lighter. That's darker. Okay, and then I don't know. I'm just gonna make it this. Oops. The white is always white. White. Now let's make this white. Okay. So the areas where my X is, I'm gonna make those, keep those white. And I have to be mindful of the areas over here because I've got some areas that are gonna stay white too. Like the top part of, there's a little top part of the B and the A, there's gonna be some white areas there. I'm gonna just outline it so that I try to remember to keep it. There's a little bit of a white area here. And that's pretty much it. There's some highlights on this grape. Yep. Even my straw though, my straw is white, but it doesn't have, it's not completely white. Basically, the only areas that are really white are on the glass. Okay, so actually, so wash around your whites. block them out. Okay, and then you have to determine what wash you're going to do in these areas. So I'm gonna have yellow, obviously, for my lemon. I'm gonna mix up an orange for this board here. And I need a neutral gray for the glass. And I'm gonna cheat, and it looks almost purple to me, but if I color pick this, no, that's not what I want. Let's see what color that looks like. Where is this on the color wheel? That's a red. Okay. I could probably create a neutral gray. All of these colors in here, if I do this, this is probably more purple. No, it's an orange. It's in the orange family. You can see it right in here. This one I'm going to bet is a little bit more violet. No? See, that's so great. That's all orange. It's coming up as orange. This one's still also warm. Okay. So it's a very neutral orange tone. That's what's coming up. And it's actually because why? Here's why. This is orange. This is transparent. It's just coming through. There is glass, there is water, and then I can see through the wood. Okay, so having to remember that, I'm just realizing it right now. I'm actually seeing the wood through the glass. That's why it's orange. If I color pick on this area, you can see that that is also orange. Okay. Good to know. It's over here. So that's orange. I'm gonna obviously have some reds over here. Reds throughout the picnic blanket, and then my grapes. Okay, so those are violet, clearly. Okay, and then of course red in my straw. All right, now to pick my colors. Mhm. The point of the object is to go bright and bold with your color. So I'm gonna use this dioxazine purple along with my Consa yellow. I don't have hardly any blues in this at all, like aside from the blueberries and the blue that's in the grapes. But I might play with using the turquoise as my blue. And I might play with, here, this is a violetto, this bright pinkish purplish color. I don't know if I want that either. I might go with, ooh, let's go with rose madder hue. That's what I want to use. Okay. So those could be the colors. Now I said you can use any color you want, but if you're gonna keep harmony with your colors, it's really great to just use your primaries, because every time you mix a color, if you need orange, which I'm gonna make with these two colors here, those are mixing two colors. That's always gonna have harmony whenever you use your primaries. Okay, let's see, and I'm using a purple here because I want to try and get, I don't know, something with that grape color. All right. I'm gonna use this as my testing ground. I already have some of these colors in my palette, but it's palette too, but here we go. You can't see it, so let me move this out. All righty. I'm gonna put my violet here in the bottom. And I'm probably gonna use, I'm gonna need to clean this stuff up, so. In fact, I might just put all three of my colors in this little area here. And I can clean that up and then y'all can see the colors that I'm using all the time. Let's see, I'll put my turquoise here. And I'm gonna clean up some of these. That way I have some clean palette space. Clean wall space anyway. You guys like my blue nail polish? I had it for my signing this weekend.
Love it.
Thanks. Yeah, because I like to be in the aesthetic of the artwork. So I was debuting my Little Mermaid under the sea painting. And that's blue and pinks and purples and stuff. So that's what I wore. Blue nail polish with a bright, very bright pink outfit. Okay, here we go. I got some nice clean color palette space here. I'm going to stick with my color coordination of warm and cool. So I'll go red over here. No, red here. That's my rose madder hue. I'm going to go with my Hansa yellow here. This is going to be my blue, my turquoise. I'm going to put this over here. So I have a little bit of space in between. And then my violet. Dioxazine purple actually. Okay, now I'm going to kind of create my color. See what kind of colors I'm going to get from this mix, from this palette here. A little bit of water in each of these, just so they're not too strong. It's my rose. My yellow. My turquoise, which is a really lovely blue. I'm gonna just put this right in there so it kind of mixes. Oh, that's nice. And I'm gonna take this violet and I'm gonna let that mix in with that too. I'm also gonna put some of that in here, see what happens when that mixes with that. And get some violet into this blue. So I'm kind of creating a really loosey-goosey color wheel. It's really loose though. I can take this red and this yellow. And I'm gonna need to get this orange and orange with it. So that's great. All right. So I got some understanding of my colors here. If I wanted to spend a little bit more time on developing a palette, like with values and stuff, I could. In this case, I'm not. I'm just gonna go ahead and, oh. Let's see, I'm gonna also go ahead and clean this palette here so that I have a nice clean area to work with. But I want my colors to be really clean and saturated. Normally I would keep this as it is, but because I am using a limited color palette, I do want to make sure that these other colors aren't informing my palette here. It is mostly clean. Okay. Let's see if I can bust this out in 30 minutes. Wash around my whites. My first wash that I want to do is this orange thing here, maybe. Or maybe I'll do you know what? I'm going to do the lemon because that seems like the fun thing to do. A little bit of the rose. There we go. Now it's a little warmer. Okay, that's great. All righty. I got to make sure that I am not painting the rind. Let's see if I can. Okay. It's pretty much yellow, but I haven't done any kind of differentiation to it. I was thinking of just trying to get a wash in. There's a couple ways you can go about doing this is you can do all the wash in one pass and then do your next level of color after that. And then your third layer of color over that for the entire thing, or you can go piece by piece, which I was just now thinking of doing, of like maybe differentiating that wash a little bit more. So I could actually come in here with a little bit, since this is still wet, I could come in with a little bit of, that's way too orange. So, some variation in there. I'm gonna add more yellow so it's not too dark, but I want that a little bit darker in that area, and I have to be careful around there. All right, I'm gonna use the same color that I just made here with this orange, and I'm gonna create kind of the rind or the skin of the lemon, because it almost looks, yeah, orange, even though it's yellow. All right, and I could use that same kind of orange for all of this here too. So I'm gonna come in here and develop my orange here. That's way too orange. I'm gonna add more water because I think I want a little bit more of a volume of this paint in a larger quantity. And because it's too orange, I'm gonna come in, get a little bit more yellow right in the well. Seeing it right in the paint blob. That looks a little better. And I know it's gonna be even lighter. Okay. When I go in there and paint it. So now I have a couple places where the orange is at. It's here, and it's also in this little bit of the bowl. That bowl is pretty much that same, it's that same wood color. So I could do two things. Actually, I could just kind of paint all of this orange enough to me, but I can make another pass at it too. See how wet it is? There's a lot of paint here. A lot of volume of paint. And I'm just gonna come in here and do this little wooden bowl. And it's gonna touch here, so that's okay. There's actually a little bit of a highlight on the edge of this bowl here. I'll leave that white. I'm gonna go all the way to the edges there. And because I know that this glass is transparent, I could almost just take a really, really, really light wash of this orange here, I'm adding a lot more water to it, and then paint. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna paint through, but I have to make sure that I'm leaving those areas that I designated as white. I'm gonna leave those. It's not all over, but it's kind of in a lot of that place. So it seems like there's a little bit over here from the lemon. I should probably get some of that in there from the lemon anyway, because there's this transparency there. Okay. Now this is too wet, so I'm just gonna come in here, sop some of this up. I'm drying my brush up on a paper towel over here. You can't see it. But, okay, see, I want you to see this. Yeah, I painted all this really, really with a lot of paint, a lot of water, and look at how even that is. It's very, very even. There's no changes in it, really, in the value. There's a little bit of granulation happening from the paper, which I like, which is really nice, but I'm gonna keep it that way. I have to let this dry before I do anything else. Unless I wanted to make some variations in it, but I don't. At this point, I just want to get my wash down. So those are my washes of my yellows. Now I'm gonna go to my washes of my reds, and I'm just gonna go straight here. Now I know that this red is really cool. It's like a vibe. It's so, it's not very warm at all, and I want my reds to be warm. So I'm gonna add, let's switch this around. I'm gonna go straight into my red, and then I'm gonna add just a little bit of that yellow into it so that it has a little bit of more warmth in it. I'm gonna test that, see if I like it. Yeah, it's still, I get a little bit more yellow in there. Okay, that's great. All right, but this is a wash, so now I have to be really careful with where I'm painting. I'm gonna paint my picnic blanket, okay? I actually need to be careful around this area because it seems like it's still a little wet. This is dry, I think, nope, part of that is not dry, it's still wet. If I wanted precision, then I have to wait for all that stuff to dry. But in the interest of time, I'm just gonna go ahead and go do it, I'm gonna do it. I am getting a little bit of that extra paint off. Okay, this is gonna bleed unless I keep a little halo of space around it, and I could, yeah, I'll do that. I'm gonna dry off my brush a little bit and then just suck up some of this paint and Oh, look at that. It actually didn't work out so bad. Yeah, it's actually coming through here. And then I have some of it down here. And then some of it's down here, which I didn't drop. But that's okay. I'll draw it anyway. Okay. I'm really liking the way this warm area is coming from the wash and the lemon. I think that's really nice. All right. So now I gotta get the strawberry. I'm just gonna do a wash, the whole thing. You know what I could do too is I could probably just go right and do the blueberries too. No, I'm not gonna. And I know that it's gonna be darker on the side, so I can even just come in here and get a little bit more red right from my palette and just do a wet into wet blending, because I know that that's gonna stay a little bit lighter. And if I did nothing more to it and I just wanted that to be the value that I'm developing, that might be enough. I'm gonna put a little bit underneath here because I know there's gonna be some of that leaf there. Okay. And now I could kind of do the same thing with the grapes. I know that those are going to be more violet, but I can still give it like a nice underpainting of the red. And I think I have a little bit, oops, yeah, I have a little bit of green on my palette, so it's neutralizing it. I was wondering why it got so gray all of a sudden. It lost its saturation. I'm gonna leave out this area for the highlight. I'm kind of grouping my colors together. Okay. And now I can go in and I can paint. I think all that's kind of dry. Yeah. But now I think I just want that picnic paint. Ooh, a little bit of white gouache here. Ah, it's like sticky. Excuse my reach. All right. I want some of that yellow is kind of, you can see it, it's kind of bleeding into my red on my palette, and that's okay. All right. I'm going to test this and make sure it's light enough. Yeah, I could use it as a wash and I could just paint all of the red. Yeah, that's fine. Because then what I want to do is I want to come in with a second pass of color on the red and make some of those areas even punchier. I like using the tip of the brush to make sure that I'm getting along the inside of the shapes to keep it really crisp. Yeah, I'm gonna just pull in some of this from the strawberry. And even some of the grapes, there's gonna be some red around that. And, oops, this is white, white, this is all red, white, and that's gonna be right over there too. Okay. All right, it's coming out. Not such a bad thing. So this is my first pass of my wash. Now, what I want to do is the second pass. Well, actually, no, I want to develop some of these grays in here. Probably want to do that after this is kind of dry. It looks like it's dry. So remember that was kind of like a orangey gray, only because there was orange underneath it. How am I going to mix my neutral gray? I'm going to mix all my colors together. In fact, I might use red with, I'll mix it with the blue. I'm going to just take this whole color here and add a little bit of blue to it. This turquoise, and this is a really nice kind of a purple color that I'm getting, kind of a mauve color. If I add a little bit of yellow to that, it's gonna neutralize it or kind of gray it down. Great, so I'm just gonna pull yellow from this part of the palette over here. It's a little too warm for me. So that's one thing, but so far, at least if I do that, it's gonna harmonize with it. It might not be exactly the color that I'm trying to get to there. I might add a little bit more blue to it and it'll cool it down. That's a lot of blue. But it's a lot more gray now. It's really gray. Okay. If I'm okay with that color, I can kind of move along, but I haven't even added any purple yet. So I'm going to try and adding some purple in here. And that is actually much better. So it's a little bit cooler. I don't know if you can even tell. This has got a warm tint. This has got a cold tint to it. Okay, so I like that. I like that. So now what I'm going to do is really, really carefully look at the glass. And I think I want a little bit of an area where it's a little bit lighter. Okay. Yep, it's all dry. Alrighty. Yeah. That's still really, really dark. I want it a little even lighter than that. Okay. Now I gotta move fast and move this because it's wet. Wherever I see a little bit of this dark area. And I can create these shapes within it. And that's going to kind of give it that feel of refraction, I think. I'm going to stay down here. There seems to be a little bit more darkness right here. So I'm going to add a little bit of more darkness there. And it's going to get really dark up here. So I'm going to take from this darker area here, right in there, and right in there. I know there's a lot more differentiation in there than I'm capturing, but I don't have time. So I'm just going to get the gist of it, I think. And I'm going to pull, make this a little bit lighter. There's some yellow in here that I didn't catch, but do that. Okay, I kind of like the way that looks. Dark area, there's a little bit more darker area over here. No, there's a really darker area over here. Oh, this is really, really light. The only areas of white that I should have are the areas that I kind of designated already. Okay. All right. A little bit of darkness on top of there. And there's a nice, there we go. I need to do some of the straw too. So that straw is, the white part of the straw is not totally white. But there is a little bit of a highlight right here. You see that? So because I want that to feel white, I have to create an area that is not white. So I'm gonna actually take this gray and put it right on, I'm putting it on the red and it's almost cutting it down a little bit, but it's creating shadow, which is nice. Okay. Now I'm going to take that same gray that I've been using because this is my harmonious way of creating my color. I'm going to put that in the lemon rind area. And I might even go right on top of the orange part. It might gray it down a little bit too much. So that means I'll have to come back with a little bit more orange and make that a little bit more saturated. But that does do something nice. Okay. I got a little bit of a shadow that's not quite there, but I can kind of add a little bit of these segments. I'm gonna really dry off this brush and just use the gray on this brush to create these very, very light lines for the segment of the lemon. It's just enough. It's not too harsh. Okay, but I'm still working with my light values here. I haven't done anything. I'm still not technically the wash and the glazing. Yeah, I'm still technically in the wash and the glazing. Although I really want to get, like, there's a bright yellow right here on this lemon. I kind of want to get that just because I think it would be fun. Get some of this yellow right in here. Get a little bit of this red. And I'm going to hit that. It's really wet. But it's juicy. Okay. And I'm gonna leave a little bit of I'm gonna suck up some of that with the brush at the top a little bit. And then I'm gonna I'm just gonna use a little bit of red. Ooh, might be too much. Nope, it's just enough. It makes it orangey. So now it's like, it's turning, the form is turning a little bit. And I think I want some of that in this part right up against the straw. So it feels, yeah, that's good. It's such a small area, but that color is really nice. And then I noticed that there's some of the tabletop picnic blanket back there that I didn't get. Okay, that's all right. I'm going little by little, washing, using the wash. Okay. Now I might do another pass the same way I did the lines on the segments on the lemon. I might do something like that, the striations in the wood. Okay, so I'm still using my reds and my yellows. I haven't really done much other than that. But because I want it to be a little bit more brown, I'm probably gonna have to add some blue to it. Unless I want to keep it really bright and bold. But I do want this a little bit more. That's too orange, I think. Actually, you know what? That would be a great color to use on the shadow side of the form. If I were to just come right in there with that yellow. Maybe I'll add just a touch of, let's a touch of blue. I don't want it to get too green. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so that's a nice brown. It's a little bit darker. And it's probably not as dark as I want it. So I'm gonna add more pigment to it. And I'm gonna have to get more paint because I'm running out of pigment. But now test that here. That's nice. It should be dark enough, but I'm gonna add a little bit more blue, just a touch. All right, that's nice and brown. Okay, so now I'll come in here with my shadow on the side of the form. There's so much paint on my brush right now, probably too much. So I just dried off my brush and now I'm sopping up this color. It's dark, but it's not as dark. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is now that I've taken some of the paint off, I'm adding purple and I'm gonna add it wet into wet in some of these places. So I'm gonna get some variation in the color, which might be fun. Okay. And I'm gonna go to do that really dark area right in here. Too much paint. I'm gonna soak up some of it with my brush. It's a little dry. Okay, you got that. I think I want to outline, just make that come in there too. All right. Now I like that color. I like that it's doing that, but I want it a little bit lighter. So now I'm gonna add some water to it and then use that color to make my stripes. And I don't want it to be too wet. So I dried it off my brush a little bit. And then I want to make sure that I'm using this in the right direction. Okay, these are still really, really dark, so I'm going to dry off my brush a little bit more. That's picking up some of the wet stuff. I'm going to dry my brush off even more. And if I wanted some variation in that, I can just go back into my palette and pick up another color. That way it's not so uniform. Okay, and I think I want to pick up another color that's a little bit more yellow. So at this point, I know that the direction of the wood is this way, and I'm not looking too much at the wood anymore. I'm just kind of trying to get that feeling of the wood. Okay. That's not so bad. And okay, now I'm going to do the grapes, Farah. Since I'm going to let that be, I'm going to go into my purple and red, and I'm going to develop the grapes. So here's my purple. I'm going to just put it right on the palette where my other colors are, so I know it's going to blend harmoniously. Oh, how could I get so perfect so quickly? There's a little bit of green on my palette, so that's probably it. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and just use that color right here. Still as a wash. It's not really a wash, actually. It's more of like the glaze, the second part. Come on in. And I'm using a lot of paint here. I'm gonna just soak it up with a dry brush. Actually, it's not dry, it is wet. I'm wetting it and I am drying it off. And now I'm gonna kind of wedge it and pull it out here. Because I don't want it to be too saturated. All right. I may want to just, yeah, I may want to paint each individual grape at a time if I'm going to be doing it that dark. Or at least here, I can do this one. This one has a shadow. And I'm taking this damp brush and I'm gonna just massage the paint into this area. But I don't want it to get into this little grape area here because if I do, it's gonna bleed. I'm just gonna pull this out here. And I'm trying to think of my shadow shapes. I'm not thinking of the individual grapes. I'm looking, the reason why I'm doing one at a time is because I'm looking at where the shadows are. And the shadow shapes are kind of together, so I can put them together. And here, there's another bit of a shadow here, so I'm gonna pull that here. So far that's what I got. But I have to think, do I want to, what do I want to mix in here while it's wet? I want to add a little bit of red to it. Because some of the grape is a little bit, one of these grapes is a little bit more red. I'm gonna test that until I get it right. That's a little bit more red, so I'm gonna come in here and mix that up together. Dry my brush. All right. So you can see the highlight is there. There's a little bit more of a shadow. Yes. Okay, but I'm not done with that. I have to let it dry and then I'm gonna do another pass. I'm gonna do my occlusion shadows, which are gonna be where the darkest areas of it are. Okay. Now I'm gonna come out and do the darkest parts. Well, I still haven't done my blueberries, so I actually need to do my blueberries. Okay. So my blueberries, I'm gonna take this turquoise. And I'm gonna mix it with my violet. Oh, that's nice. It's too saturated. Actually, it might not be too saturated. It might be just the right, it might be just what I need. I want to do bold, bright colors. So let's try it. I'm gonna do it on all of these and then I'm gonna do some lifting up. This is too wet. I'm drying my brush and now I'm gonna lift up. And there's so much paint, so I'm gonna have to lift up a lot. But that might be just the thing that I needed to do. Because there's some texture that's happening there. I'm gonna keep drawing my brush and lifting up in this area where I want it to be lighter. I'm actually gonna clean my brush, dry it off, and lift up again. And I actually might have to just use like a paper towel. Because it's not even lifting up. And it might be because that turquoise is a stain color. Aha. Now this is a totally dry brush. I think that's what I needed. I need a completely dry brush. Okay, so now I have some form and highlights on the blueberries. Pretty simply. Okay, I'm at 2:30. I'm gonna go for like 7 more minutes, maybe 5 more minutes. I don't know. What I do want to do is my last pass, which are my darkest darks, or the most the thickest paint. So I'm gonna use a smaller brush here. And I want to do my reds, and I need more red because I used it all up. And I also want to hit the straw again because that straw could be a little bit brighter. Okay. Again, I want to make sure that I am creating harmony. So I'm going to go right into my palette of my grays already. Mix that up. And I want this to be really, really dark. So I'm pretty much using almost all of that, but I'm blending it into my palette. Okay. Now my dark, dark, dark reds. And I actually might have to use a little bit of blue so it gets even darker in value. But I don't know if that's going to be dark enough in value. Yeah, okay. I'm looking, it's like every other square. I didn't even do the strawberry, so I'm gonna hit the strawberry with some textured marks so it feels like a strawberry. I didn't do the green in there, but I will do that later. I'm gonna come in here on this darker part of the straw with that dark red. And that's creating harmony there. And that shadow, that's really nice. There's a little bit more of the darkness here. There's some dark there too. Not bad. You know what there is? There is a shadow. There's a cast shadow right here that I didn't even get. And I probably should. I'm gonna have to wait till that dries so that I can do a layer on top of it. Otherwise, I'm gonna be glazing over wet paint. I'm gonna glaze over a grape with this red. Okay. And what else can I do? I just want to get that green on the strawberry because that's so not there. I need to get that in there. So I'm going to just take the blue, the turquoise, and the yellow. That's really green, so I'm going to add a little bit of red to it so it's a little desaturated. It's pretty dark too, but there are some areas that are really light. So I come in here and I test this. That's a nice green. I might want it to be still a little bit lighter. Yeah, I like that. So part of this is going to be a little bit light. It's not too much lighter. And then I might just come in here with a little bit of blue just to have a pop of color. Just a tiny bit of blue. So the blue will mix, that turquoise will mix with the yellow and make an optical green. And it's bright. It's kind of fun. It's nice. All right. Calling it done. I probably need to come in here. No, I'm not gonna call it done. I'm gonna do one last thing. When this is dry, I'm gonna come in here and get like the really, really dark, dark shadows. I can probably do another pass of shadows, dark here. I'm gonna use that same blue that I used here. This is still wet, so I'm gonna wait for that to dry. This is what it looks like. I use that blue with that purple, and it's kind of that dark color. I can actually come in here and see if there's any other darker areas that I want to hit on this jar. And that'll actually, that there are a couple things that I want to do. Here. Maybe just a little bit of darkness in that there area. A little bit more darkness in the occlusion. And I put a little bit more blue. Oh, that's really blue. Oh, let's try it. Because that's dark. It's not quite the color. But the other thing is I want to make sure that the value is reading. It's a little messy. Okay, I have nice value there. All right. Now there's a shadow on the left side of this wooden thing. But I have to get rid of my X because it's going to cover it up. Oh, and I haven't even done the inside of the bowl. Oh my goodness. Let me do the inside of the bowl. The inside of the bowl is actually, it's actually orange, and I just grabbed the wrong color, but that is okay. It should be more orange. So I'm going to just grab some red, and it's just going to kind of neutralize it all. There we go. And now I'm going to paint a cast shadow on my white picnic blanket. And there, now it's done. I have to remove this right here. All right, what do you think?
Beautiful.
It's great.
Not bad. I'm always surprised at myself. Let's see what happens when I actually just sit down and paint. Decent things happen. Okay. All right, questions? I'm gonna actually do this.
It's just very lovely. It's just amazing.
Thank you.
It just gives you the suggestion of a summer picnic, but
It is
you're
the
simplified
suggestion.
into just little elements. It's great.
Yeah, right. It doesn't feel like winter. It doesn't feel like fall. It feels like summer to me.
Yep.
Just those elements of it. So I can still see through my, the paint with the pencil lines and stuff, and there might be some things that I could kind of do in there, but for the most part, I think it's capturing the essence of it, and I like it. So, all right. Excellent.
Thank you. It looks like a kind of a pop art piece with that strong angle of the jar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the composition that I created is very dynamic. There's a lot of diagonal lines in it.
A lot of movement.
There's a lot of movement in it. Okay, so part of your assignment is not just to zoom in, but create an interesting crop. Create an interesting composition. All right. Thank you.